jump back over to the NRG Pittsburgh Knights game 3 that is just starting. This is going to be Vasgar. I do believe, like I said, that the map that was the game 3 of NRG versus Reciprocity was Vasgar as well, so NRG definitely needed to play that map a little better than we saw from them on Sunday. Yet again, with a pretty slow, stalemate initial. It's not what you usually expect.
It's how Exhibit started off, right? I mean, it started off super slow until it wasn't slow, and that was when NRG just absolutely stunned me by pressing forward and taking over that first round in Exhibit. And they didn't stop there. They ended up taking that 5-1. NRG is a very talented team on Vasgar, and I always highlight it every single week, week after week. And I expect no difference here. One thing that really is crucial, at least from what I've noticed in the past for NRG, is they love to send those stragglers to kind of continually rotate hills, and that always forces both teams, or at least their enemy team, whoever they're playing, to kind of allocate resources in multiple different directions. It confuses them, if you will, as Praise was down low by himself. So you're going to see it, right? NRG put all of this attention onto that A hill. Meanwhile, though, they send 2 players down low onto Bravo, as they're just going to continually keep rotating hills, and it's going to be tough for Pittsburgh to counter that.
I see Summons being surrounded, doing his best to get his health back into retreat. So good job by him playing that slow and playing it smart. Advantage in NRG's favor. But again, we know this map, Taylor. We know Vasgar. It's just honestly just it's just a rotation fest. It's literally just
all it is.
There's no such thing as a setup when it comes to this map.
Which is crazy to say. It's the only map where there's really just no setup. It's all about rotating.
Which makes it fun.
It does.
It's a little unconventional, but it is fun as you see Praise getting a big double kill before Identives trades him out. It's one of those maps where you just end up having to just be constantly moving the whole way through hills, capped and decapped, and there's weird distances going through. NRG, though, did hold that 2-cap for quite some time, so you do see a decently built lead. And just when you see Pittsburgh hopping on B, where's NRG? They're right on C, because, again, it's Vasgar. Players are moving every which way, trying to surround Mental, and they're going to do that. So, once again, the 2-cap being threatened by Pittsburgh. They still have time to try to gain the time back, but there's the decap onto B. I think we're seeing a little bit of a trend on round number 1.
Yeah, we absolutely are, and that's why you're going to see NRG rotate up towards Charlie, and it's going to be Monkeys on the side of Pittsburgh Knights trying to hold them at bay, as Pittsburgh has put a lot of resources down low, and so is NRG, which is pretty surprising to say the least. But now you're going to go and see Solars, right, that straggler. He's going to be working his way over towards Charlie, kind of filling it out. And I think he's got a little bit of a feeling Monkeys is going to be off in the distance. So that's going to be a crucial 1v1, as after this round is in fact over, we're going to get to see the conclusion of that Rise versus FNI match. But first we got to get through this round, as NRG, they had a lead, it's now gone, and Pittsburgh is looking to turn things around, almost reminiscent of that first one on Icebound, right, where it seemed NRG played so incredibly well, but Pittsburgh in the end was able to turn things around during the final portions of the game, as it looks as if the domination did, in fact, come through. And in the end, NRG, they hold on.
Off to a good start on our tiebreaker map. But speaking of tiebreakers, we wanted to see another match that is underway. If we
remain poised, remain in control, won those fights, of course, for the drop shot, utilized them perfectly, and they retook the win in the end. But as we hop back on board with NRG, in this last bit of round number 2, it seems as if it's going to end just the same as it did in round 1 with another team wipe.
Definitely a much better showing on Vasgar than we saw out of NRG last time. We're going to see explosive 11 eliminations through 2 rounds. On a map that's based around rotations, he's just going to be so strong. He's such an active player around the map. Obviously does all the shot calling for this team. So for him to be able to kind of be the tip of the spear as they just continue to maneuver around this very odd map, he's going to continue to rack up those eliminations, get those kills, get that damage in for his teammates. NRG looking very strong on tiebreaker. Again, shaking off that map 1 very well.
It's fun to see the weapon loadouts here, specifically because you usually always see a retro Lancer. I always like to see those come into play with these long angles, long line of sights. The retro Lancer, I mean, it hits, right? It hits hard, and I think it's a great weapon to utilize on both sides. So that's definitely going to help at least a team who has a hill locked in. And Solar is already going to work with it as Monkey's forced to back up. He's going to take a considerable amount of damage. He knows the push from NRG is inevitably going to happen. And a strong start, as NRG will in fact be in control of A and B. You see Pittsburgh Knights will be pushing over towards A, but a good hold from Mental as he comes through, takes out Dezo and Identives, as Chaos as well will drop. And that will be 3 down for the side of PK. NRG very much in control as they now push through mid. That's going to open up the lane for Charlie. Looks as if they might be pushing for a potential trip cap.
Here we go. Getting hit from a very far distance. I don't think it's going to be enough, though, to take these players down. NRG once again in control of this round, racking up that time with the 2-cap. Bray's taking a low health, but is going to get the kill onto Monkey's Chaos. Going to likely fall to his hand as well. 2 dead right now for the Pittsburgh Knights. NRG continuing to move forward, continue to get aggressive. Praise approaches with a full spread onto Identives, follows it up as well. Praise has had a very, very good map number 2 and map number 3 as he is just not stopping. NRG continuing to just search and destroy these players on Pittsburgh Knights, looking to finish this off with a statement as they go up 3-0.
That was dominant, wasn't it? I mean, they picked up
finish.
one. Yeah, start to finish. They picked up 1, they picked up 2, and then before you know it, all 5 members down. A good push from NRG. And I got to look at Pittsburgh Knights kind of total kill count, right? How many kills they had got, and I don't think they increased in that last round, unfortunately. I think maybe by 1 or 2, but none of them at double digits as they are down now 3 rounds. It's not looking good if you're a fan of the Pittsburgh Knights, the old ghost squad for the LATAM scene. As things are going to be a little bit fun, right? Snipers are, in fact, going to be placed down. I always love to watch these snipers be used here on this map. It makes things incredibly fun to watch, specifically in the hands of the NRG side. They're so good, and they do not miss shots, it seems.
When that NRG team is firing on all cylinders, when they're not missing shots, and when they are confident, they're just such a scary team to beat. Pittsburgh Knights are going to have to start putting the pedal to the metal right now if they're going to try their best to stay in this round, because it just continues to be the NRG show mental. Getting that very first kill once again. Trying to give his teammates a revive as much as he can. Pittsburgh Knights are starting to get aggressive, but it is Summons. Getting Detonite explosive, going to fall in the meantime. Can he get the revive? He does. Revive's coming in from both sides. You're going to see both sets of players starting to retreat Summons. With a couple players in front of him, but his teammate Mental using a lot of good team fire. Now they're going to actually just end up pinching with Lancers as kills, Taylor, just are going left and right. Trade after trade. But seemingly along the way, it still looks like it just continues to be NRG at least in control of the objectives.
Seems so far, right? But Pittsburgh, a lot of activity over there on Charlie. A 1v1 down there on to Bravo. And it is, in fact, going to be Dazzle who's able to take that win. So he will be in control of Bravo. Alpha is going to be in the hands of Pittsburgh Knights, and if a good fight happens here onto the home hill of NRG, well, that could spell disaster, but NRG, they will in fact break forward. They're winning those fights. Sleeper will get dropped along with another onto the side of PK. Chaos is going to drop. That's 3 down. NRG now is going to pursue over towards Alpha, and they are going to have PK in a bad position off of spawn.
You see Explosive again on the A hill. It's going to give them the 2 home hills, which on Vasgar, it's kind of hard to call them a home hill, but we're gonna do that for the sake of the usual verbiage. As Chaos and his team start to plot where their next move is, you're gonna see them edging over towards A. That snipe on the map always makes things fun.
Oh yeah,
I've seen a lot of retro Lancer placements on this map in particular. I've seen clips on Twitter of just the NRG guys in scrims with retros on the map. And it seems to be very common.
It just makes sense. I mean, it hits like a ton of bricks, obviously, and then of course
the long.
I mean, yeah, you know, in the long line of sight. So I think we see more retro Lancers on this map than any other. So
let's see if Pittsburgh can use this 2-cap now to try to claw back into this again. The NRG lead on this round isn't huge. You see the players just crowding around that snipe. Here comes the push. Praised. Detonite. It is Praised. Gets the better end of him. Unfortunately, he falls to his teammate's hand. That is going to be explosive. A bit of a misfire. Monkey's going to try to go ahead and pocket that snipe. That advantage now definitely favoring Pittsburgh Knights. They're going to hop on to C, and they still do have time to hold this 2-cap down. But they have to get on that C hill soon. You're going to see the kills continue to fall in their favor. Summons and Praise drop. Identives beginning to rotate. Chaos fighting over towards C. And Monkeys uses the snipe to get a hold of him, but they still have the B hill, Taylor. I think that win condition now might be gone for Pittsburgh Knights. I do believe the one
get the 2-cap
will be enough. Yeah, you're going to see Cog team will still win. And Solars, he holds down B. Pittsburgh Knights, they finally started to chain the kills they needed together, but they didn't hop on the hills in time. NRG stays strong at B. And after a heartbreaking loss for the Knights, go up 4-0 on Vasgar. You hate to see that.
And you know, that's where NRG strives. We talked about it constantly. They love to play the objective here on Vasgar. That's what it's about, right? You know, you can chain together a couple of kills like Pittsburgh did, you know, specifically towards the end, but it just wasn't enough. NRG played the objective. They hopped on those hills. They weren't scared to send those stragglers out. Those players, you know, those 1 or 2 players out by themselves, 1vx against the world. And of course, they played the objective well. And that was what won NRG, or at least that last round for NRG in the end. So Pittsburgh Knights not in a good position whatsoever. They've lost the last 4 straight. Finally, they've got their eliminations going, but is it too late?
Yeah, I mean, the way that NRG is playing on this tiebreaker, it's looking like the end is near for the Pittsburgh Knights. You're going to see that Boltok place in the backside. You know, I love me some Boltok play. I think that thing is just ridiculously strong.
Yeah.
See if they can put it to use and maybe turn the tides. Again, the fight's heading over towards that sniper rifle. We saw Monkeys a couple nice headshots last round, but again, if they don't start chaining some of these rounds together, I mean, they don't chain any rounds together at this point. They have to chain them all together if they want a chance.
Yeah. And you have to do that against NRG.
Of all teams, too. Yeah.
You know, of all teams. So it's going to be tough. But, hey, it has happened, right? F&I made a great run against Rise, and that forced the Game 3 on Exhibit that we'll be watching a little bit later. So it's going to be possible, but Mental is already shutting that idea down. He takes 2 players out. Dezo up ahead. Identa's 2. And he doesn't look at the aggression. He literally does not care. He's going to go now against Dezo, who stuck the snipe. Mental, as aggressive I've ever seen him now, they're just going to be going back and forth on this little legend. Mental pushes Dezo. Finally, he will get dropped. But at what cost? At the cost of 3 players dropping on the side of PK.
There are just those situations sometimes, whether it's Gears 4, Gears 5, Gears UE, where you just see Mental in front of a player and you can tell that their body language is uncomfortable. No matter what it is. He can walk at you, wall bounce, whatever it is. You could just see how uncomfortable that player was. And you just knew Mental was going to win that fight. And sure enough, he did. I was like, what, a 4 or 5 kill streak?
It's 3, yeah, for sure. Jeez. Mental, the confidence. And whether it's Mental or praised, or I mean, you just take your pick. Solar's now in a 1v2. Luckily, he's going to be joined up, but just straight into Identa's wall. Hit him with the brick and absolutely takes him out. One player, Sleeper, will in fact get dropped as Dezo doing what he can to try and stop the bleeding. It does just that. Takes out Mental and Solars. Focuses attention now with Chaos. Potentially push forward over towards E. As NRG, that's going to be their next objective to take, but they're going to be in a 4v2 situation, or a 3v2 at least.
Yeah, so despite all Mental's plays early on, Pittsburgh Knights have maintained a lot of control this round. They're continuing to maintain it right now. Currently a 5v3 on the map. Of course, Summons and Praise will be out spawned soon. We're on the longest spawns, of course, of this half. A couple downs come through, but they're not going to result in full kills. Pittsburgh Knights continuing to maintain control of this round. Solars, he's going to be dropped as well after attempting to get on at D-Hill. I don't think that NRG is going to even try to throw respawns in there. No use throwing your resources at this round. You have such a big lead, so much map ahead of you still to just grab one. Pittsburgh Knights finally put themselves on the board, but man, their work is cut out for them. They need to chain 4 more in a row if they want to move on.
And that would be the biggest upset, I think, out of all the weeks of Emergence days, but it'd be an exciting one. So, I mean, I'm not against it. I just think it's very improbable. Pittsburgh Knights now a long mountain to climb, but they have chained together a lot of elims. A couple of rounds ago, none of them were in double digits. Now you see several of them about to break the 20 mark. Monkeys is already there himself with 20 elims, so not a bad turn of events. Onto the side of Pittsburgh Knights. They're turning up, they're playing well, and Respawn economy still very much so intact on both sides. So we have a solid game here. But Pittsburgh, they cannot slip up. And that first fight onto E is in fact going to be taking place. Mental's going to be the first one to pick up the snipe, so things could get interesting. He does manage to get away, so that's going to at least cut off a couple of angles for Pittsburgh. It's going to be tough for them to push in onto E, but Monkeys, he tests his luck. He does just that, but Mental, he's ready to go.
And the snipe in his hands is a scary sight. We've seen him make just so many snipe plays over the years. Meantime, he's going to rotate over and get that kill on the Sleeper with his shotgun. So now you're going to see D and F currently favoring NRG. You're going to see Pittsburgh Knights rotating over. Explosive is there waiting. We definitely want to stay on board with Mental when the snipe is in his hands. You definitely saw that player off spawn. I think he has now the information With the players making the rotation, it looks like they're pushing over to D. Summons beginning to back off. I think he knows what's coming. Let's see what Mental can do. He knows exactly where the players are. He has the marks. So get that reload, rotate that rifle over. Looks like so far it might not even need to. You see his teammates in the kill feed. Starting to weather that push. Designate's going to fall. Sleeper has to be careful. There's a sniper rifle watching him. Ooh. And the shot just narrowly misses. Sleeper lives to fight another day. You're going to see him instantly retreat, just dance around, trying to avoid that weapon at all costs. Now he is going to be marked. Again, NRG just building this lead.
I feel like Sleeper was just poking a bear. It's not something you want to do, Mental and Dezo. Over in the corner, goes for the quickscope. Unfortunately, not going to be able to connect. Dezo able to pepper him just a little bit, but both players still up, and he could shortly be in a 1v2. He's going to push it and try to get this break. He knows at this point NRG is starting to take a nice size lead. He's got to do what he can to try and stop that. Now it's going to be Pittsburgh pinned up in a corner. NRG applying that pressure up top. Solars and Praised. Praised will drop. Solars now is going to be the last one up for NRG, at least up top. Explosives will join them, as Pittsburgh was actually going for a domination very shortly. If they win these fights up top, it could be possible. Still, a fight between Dezo and Mental needs to be successful. And it looks as if Mental doing everything he can to stay alive. He's going to be in a 1v2, forced to back up. He's still up, but unfortunately he is going to drop in Pittsburgh. That opens the door for them to retake the lead potentially very soon.
Yeah, they're going to get that hill lead very soon, and I couldn't believe how long Solar stayed alive during that fight in the end. They finally do get the elimination. Now we're going to see where NRG chooses to make their push off spawn. Sleeper's going to get control of that new sniper rifle. Summons that F seemingly unseen. Looks like instead the Pittsburgh Knights have chosen to push D instead, looking to get that D and E2 cap. They're just now going to be short of the time lead, but if they get down that hill soon, they should be able to gain it back as now across the 200-point mark. They have to be careful. You're going to see them downing each other. Not what you want to see from the Knights. Mental in a decent position as the team fire comes through. Monkeys is there for the trade. Now it's a big 1v1. Monkeys does win. That's going to give him the D hill. It's going to actually be 4 down right now for NRG, but they have the hills. They have the lead. Explosive. The last remaining member finds himself at E, and he's holding it down well. Identivs needs to get on that hill soon for his team.
Oh, someone
waiting
got
for the
on
help
D.
instead, yeah.
Someone got on D, but breaks have happened. NRG, they just need to lock down D, and they're going to be able to do so. They're on it. There's going to be a big 1v1 between Dezo and Explosive, and Explosive wins it, and that's going to be the round. And with a good hold, NRG will take the victory 5-1 and will, in fact, knock Pittsburgh Knights out of the tournament in round number 1.
Good last-ditch effort from the Pittsburgh Knights on that round, but in the end, the members of NRG clutched up as they so often do. You saw Explosive winning that big 1v1 for that final hill. And just a series of dominant maps all the way through. I do believe, as you look at the scoreboard, 5-1, 5-1, 5-1. So whenever someone won, man, did they win easy. So